everyone, this episode is sponsored by Fight Energy. Fight is your all-in-one go-to health drink. Fight is not only just an energy booster, it is a mood booster as well. So with your daily dose of vitamins, nootropics, 0 calories, it is your all-in-one health drink. I drink Fight every day. My clients drink it. Someone you probably know drinks it. And you guys, what I'm offering for as we get into 2025, we're doing a discount for 25% off your first order if you type in LYB. Okay, so we'll know that you came from the podcast, and that way we can make sure you get some Fight Energy and some other little goodies thrown in there too. So if you get a chance, we would love to know which team you are. Are you team strawberry? Are you team blueberry? Hey everyone, welcome to the LYB podcast. I'm here with Megan Fox, and I know, right? For those listening, not that Megan Fox, but we go way back. So
yes,
and you're way better than her. So anyway,
we go way back.
Yes. So tell everybody, introduce yourself real quick. Just say who you are and everything, and what you do, and we'll kind of go through our nostalgic.
Okay, so my name is Megan Fox, and I am a part owner of a travel company called LYB Travel Consultants with my partner, Lindsay Moore. Nice. She just got married yesterday. She used to be Lindsay Robertson, so congrats to Lindsay. But yeah, we used to work for another company, and we decided to team up and start our own business, and it's been a great, she's like literally my yin to my yang.
I love that.
Because she's brilliant in marketing. Yeah. Kind of like you.
Yeah.
And she has really trained me in a lot of things I didn't know about, with travel. She's very much like Mexico. She's really good with, she's actually a Hawaii expert certified. Yeah. And so she's done a lot of, she's done a fam trip, she's done E3, she's done Save the Date. We just booked a destination wedding for about 80 people. We do a lot of honeymoons, and she's really spearheaded a lot of that because she's just brilliant.
Can you all listening tell that Megan's a mom? Because she just literally talked so highly about this other person and said nothing about herself. I just love it because you and me go way back to, it was like Prairie Life when we met.
Yep, Prairie Life. And
it's like 2016.
2015, 16 was when I started at Prairie Life, 2015. And then I remember I was telling Lindsay on the way here. Yeah. I remember the first time I met Dani.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, I remember saying, and I told Tamby.
Yeah.
I said, I just love her. I said, I think I'm going to be friends with her.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she was so much younger than me, so I didn't know that we would be so close because, I was like a mom, a new mom. I had a almost 4-year-old and Beanie, little George. Yeah. And he was only, when I moved here, 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was kind of, navigating stay-at-home mom. I didn't, work at the time. And, I became a hypnotherapist, as you know, and was doing that for a long time, and Reiki, and that was kind of my side hustle. Yeah. Besides being a mom, but Dani, one time, when I came to her house to visit her, and I was doing a little bit of Reiki on her home.
Yeah, because I had a ghost in my house. Y'all
she
heard
had
the
a ghost.
story.
Okay,
yeah.
So I was trying to clear that out, and
and she did, by the way. That girl's gone.
I saged. Yes, yeah. I have a talent for that.
No, okay, you don't know the story? So I don't even know how old I am at this time, but I'm living at home.
So I kind of was born with this sort of ability to see and hear things that the regular public maybe doesn't. So I remember we were out running. Yeah. And I turned to you and I said, you have something in your house. And I described that it was this old woman, kind of like what they call the old hag. It was, and so I can't believe we were talking about this, but I went over and saged, and I saw the woman, and I told her, in Jesus' name, leave. And she left.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, you guys, this woman had been in my house since I was 10. Mom's going to watch this and be like, this isn't real. But literally.
It's real. I saw her.
Yeah. And I felt her because what happened, and I saw her multiple times, but when I was 10 years old, I was laying in my bedroom and I was on my side. It was one of those, I had just taken a shower, so my hair was wet. And I remember literally feeling frozen, so cold. And I'm looking out, I'm looking at the door essentially, and I'm awake. And this woman walks in. She literally comes right across from me, turns and looks at me, but it's not like a face. It's just long gray hair, black,
gray hair,
and then just what left or whatever. After that, your girl slept downstairs, and then my brother ended up moving out, so I ended up sleep in the dance room and whatever, lights on, all the things for years. And then it didn't happen again until I was like 17. Then something where I saw her, and then like apparently my mom said that my grandfather saw her, and then my dad even said he saw something like early in the morning. So there's all these, but this was like after now I'm in college, and then like when I was at Prairie Life and stuff. So now they're starting to say like, oh, there's something maybe going on. And anyway, I just remember laying there in bed, and I felt her like put her hands on me, and like to me it was like scary. Like I was very scared.
It was. I mean, she was a bit of a.
And you and me would, because I trained you, so you were a client, and and we would go for runs because you'd make me run because I made you weight lift, and like that was kind of the agreement, which I loved. And every time I go to Franklin or I talk to people, I'm like, I've ran every single street up in here.
Yes, you did.
Like I'm literally like, oh, over there, like I ran this.
Mall over. We went over Galleria.
Literally from like the Whole Foods to the other side, because we were on the Kroger's.
The cold day.
The cold day.
We'll talk about that after you finish your story.
So many stories. But literally like, yeah, so I think that at that point I was like, this has got to end. Like I'm done. Like you got to come. And you had been doing Reiki on me.
Yes.
And so, and for those like listening, like I would go to your house and we'd go up in your room, and you would just talk, it was very calming. It was something I never experienced before. And I feel like we did it at different times of my journey as well,
Yeah.
And so it was very helpful. I really loved it. I mean, you could see right through anything going on internally, just all this stuff. And this is before I had my health issues. So I would love to, see what that would be like now. But you know what I mean, though? So it's just, it was very, it was very enlightening, but I always felt so much better.
Yeah.
So I loved that.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about what cold story?
So, the cold day. But I was just going to mention that when I brought my children over to your house, my trainer, to clean your house, she took my children and got them whatever they wanted at the ice cream store. I mean,
I did. I took them to Baskin Robbins because, like,
so they remember her.
Yeah.
As the ice cream, a trainer.
I didn't get any ice cream. I just got
She claims
them.
she didn't. I don't know if I believe her.
Wow, ask the boys.
If you had taken them to a popcorn shop, I know you'd have eaten the popcorn.
I would have eaten the popcorn for sure.
She would have eaten the popcorn, folks, because
I think that's why I took them there, because I didn't like Baskin Robbins. Because I didn't take them to like Marble Slab, which is like that's where I would have right.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know what we can do. Let's go like I'm like my clients like giving me your kids to like go do something while you do Reiki.
I gotta do my thing. Get out.
Yeah, and so literally, yeah. I could have been like, let's go on a walk. I don't know. I was like, yeah, let's just go to town with these two young boys. And I'm like, whatever you want, guys.
Yeah,
like,
and they did. They took full advantage of her.
And I saw her post something the other day, and it was like of them, like I think eating ice cream or something. And I was like, I started this. You're welcome.
And they ask for ice cream every night.
Whatever.
Matt will go and purchase the big, it's the one with the cookie dough and the, it's like cookie dough and fudge brownie.
I cannot. Mousse?
It's like that, but it doesn't have nuts in it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they also inherited that from their father, and you just fed it.
Yeah.
You triggered it.
Me and Matt were always so cool. I liked him. I like him a lot. Like he was always so great.
He just got off of Bocelli.
Oh, really?
Bocelli. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Tell them what he does. I know.
So my husband is front of house sound engineer, and he has been touring for, I want to say 30, 35 years. Yeah. So.
Good. Okay.
Oh, it's spirits. Sorry.
Yeah. The woman's back. No, don't bring her up in my house.
She ain't coming. No, only the good ones follow me in the name of Jesus. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. But so he does sound. And so I remember we saw Kevin Hart together.
Yep.
Right. I saw, I think I saw him again too, when in like the sound pit or whatever.
You sat with Matt, I think. You went down there and hung out with Matt.
So I did that a couple of times. But that was so cool. Like I loved that. And that was really cool to see that kind of experience and him on that side of things.
Yes. Yes. He's a very good front of house. He's done hung PA for a long time, crew chief. He's actually doing some corporate stuff right now because it's usually a little slow at this time.
Right.
But as far as like he's toured with so many people.
Yeah, like wasn't he with Pink or something like that? Or was
he was with Pat Benatar. He was mixing for her, and she was opening for Pink. And I went out to Boston and got to see her show 2 nights in a row at Fenway, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
And Pink is Alicia. She is one of the most like influential like people for women. I mean, like she's kind of like what you do, you know, like love the body you're in, you
100%.
know. So, but her show was amazing. So I know
yeah.
she got hurt recently and had to got off tour for a little while. I think she had to have some surgery for like a rotator cuff or something. But
yeah, she was up there like doing all this stuff. I
like,
was like,
I
okay,
had a
pop
Bible
off,
study like reaching out to me when she went flying down, and I was like, let's pray for Alicia, because I didn't know this was going on. She like acrobats all throughout the whole thing.
I had no idea because I've never seen her live, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
So when you said that you were like there, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes,
so,
it was neat. It was neat.
Also, Kelly told me to tell you hi.
Hi,
'Cause
Kelly.
I trained her yesterday, and so she was talking about you, and I was like, she's like, when was the last time you saw her? And I'm like,
Gosh,
I don't know.
I know.
When was like 2020?
When you're like in your little Franklin bubble, or Brentwood too. It's kind of a Franklin Brentwood bubble.
Yeah.
You only like kind of venture out, and it's like
They don't go anywhere.
you're kind of amongst. You're like, I'm out of my bubble.
Genuinely, when I talk, like I actually went to Franklin the other day, and I went to Franklin the other day, and it was actually at this like private gym or whatever, because I got a guest on the podcast. He owns it, and had invited me out. It was amazing. I got to meet some like fitness icons, and like it was so cool. One of the world's strongest men guys, whatever. It was just a good time. But I was down there, and we were just kind of talking about stuff, and I was like, I'm making it sound bad about like when I've trained here, because in Franklin, because like how the women were, just how people were. And I was like, but I had like a handful of just incredible women that I loved. I mean, Jen Hall, Jacqueline Tarkington, you, Kelly Prim, let's see, Marcy,
Jen,
Jen.
Yep.
And like they still watch my stories. I see them, like like, and it's really sweet.
You have a lot of people that ask about you. Andrea, I know Carrie loves you.
Oh, really?
There's so many of them out there that
That's awesome. That makes
they
me
keep
so
track of you. But yeah.
They're watching from their bubble.
Yes.
And which is so cool, because like I said, I go through Franklin, like, because I still get my nails done at the place I went down there, whatever. So I'll come down like not often, but semi-often. And I'm like, yep, ran that route with Megan. Yep, did this here. Like
that's the cold time.
Tell them.
So it was freezing negative here, 5 out. And of course, Psycho over here.
Yeah.
Was like, let's run. And you, of course, I think you were training for something. You were trying to do a marathon or half or something, marathon. So you were like, okay. This is when I could get her to run with me. And so we went out, and
it was pre-strong, man, you guys.
It was so cold. We have video.
Yeah.
I swear, we need to find that video of like us, like we got blocked. We couldn't get past this like fence. We were stuck. It was freezing. We had to like find a way around it. I don't even know where we were.
She tried to climb the fence, and we should have just
tried to climb the fence.
But it was like so funny, you guys, because you got to understand, back then it was just like literally Megan was like, I hate strength training. Like, you did not like it. And I was like, you're going to love it. Like, we're just going to keep doing it. And so when you would tell me, you're like, well, because you would say something like, well, I run every day. Because you were running like 5 miles a day, right?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Which was crazy.
Which I don't do anymore, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into that too. But for me, I was like, well, I have this goal, do the half marathon for St. Jude, whatever. Like, so this could be good.
Yeah.
But Megan's also a little taller than me, you guys, and she is a gazelle. So
I used to look like a gazelle when I run. Used to.
No, literally, like, I would always be like, I don't even know, 20 feet behind her. I feel like it wasn't like, they're probably picturing us running together, like talking, whatever. No, I'm chasing her, and she's yelling back, come on. Like, literally, like,
my favorite,
like, speed it up.
My favorite were the hills.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Her face was just like,
I hated every moment of running hills with her, and it also, she would bring her littlest one and put him in the
jogger.
Yeah, in the jogger, and I'm like, man, she's just super mom. And she'd be like, here you go, and then like hand him to me to push up a hill, and I'm like, this is like a sled on a whole nother level. I'm like, no. And yeah, like I'm trying to be mindful. Like, anyway, I was like, yeah, you can take him back. Like, that's fine. No, but I mean, it was so much fun, doing all that with you. And I think about those memories so fondly, And I was going to say, because when we met, because I was at Prairie Life. And so probably would it have been in a class, like a group fitness class?
I think you were subbing.
Yeah, I subbed a lot.
Yeah, you were subbing for I don't know if it was Cheryl or, gosh. Yeah, I think it might have been Cheryl, because I remember some of the Cheryl crew was in there, and you made us do that 3-minute Mary J. Is it Mary J. Blige? What's the
hip thrust? Or you lose control?
Yes,
lose control.
Yes.
Yeah. 4 minutes, guys. It's like 4:15.
Well, whatever
actually,
it was. But I actually have taken that and used it because it's, when you're like you can't get to the gym, you can't get outside, you don't have access to weights.
Yeah.
Just use your body.
100%.
Use your body weight.
100%.
Bands are cheap.
Yeah.
You can just get bands.
Well, and that's the other thing too. So when I was at Prairie Life, I've told the story many times, but I had a hard time getting in my own class in group fitness.
Yeah.
So I would literally, they'd be like, hey, someone called out, can you sub? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So there was times where I was in a uniform doing membership and then would literally change 5 times in a day just to be to go teach a class and then come back and then teach a class and then come back. It was, when we were talking about this on a previous podcast, they were 16-hour days.
Yeah.
I'm driving from Murfreesboro, getting up there. You know what I mean? So so it was always, the classes were the best part for me because it was an escape from that. From the membership and all the stuff,
Yes.
And I loved it. And you guys were always so funny. I knew who was going to be in the front row. I know who was going to be in the back. I knew who was going to be on the side. It was just, the routine.
Yep.
And then from there, after about a year and a half of being there total, but a year of personal training and then doing all that, that was when I think we formed the small group, right? For you 4, right?
It was kind of an offshoot of us. And we would meet every other Tuesday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we Marcy would she would bring her little boy. I would bring my little boy. And they would just, sometimes they would come, and Shannon would bring her little girl.
Yeah.
And we would just, I don't know, it was just fun. It was kind of like a break from the normal gym stuff. And, some of the stuff that you would have us do, I wouldn't do.
Yeah. You just
I was a little defiant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which honestly made me better, you guys. And that was the thing too, is that when I left Prairie Life, I didn't know how it was going to go. You know what I mean? But I had that first event and you guys came and and we're wearing the shirts and I remember Shannon was taking pictures and flexing and stuff and and it was really sweet that you guys, out of all of the ladies, believed, you know what I mean, in the mission?
Yeah.
Because that was a pivotal time. Y'all came to my fitness festivals. You know what I mean? You guys were there, every week. Whether you're complaining or not, you still were there. And
that dance thing you did, I did that dance
Move
thing.
Fit. You did Move Fit on TV.
I'm not a dance person.
Yeah.
Well, and then the stair climb.
Yes.
Marcy and I rocked it.
Oh, 100%. That was what was so cool too was, we did the Fight for Stair Climb. That's where me and Logan met. And he was doing videography work and stuff. And so, which was super cool.
Who won?
And, I don't remember exactly. Who was it?
Who was number 1 in the female department?
I cannot.
Now, I have to say, though, Marcy, she would have been tied with me if she hadn't had to tie her shoe.
She literally, her
and I are both runners.
Yeah.
And so she's a beast.
And so she tied her shoe. She took a second, tie her shoe. And then, but they were super close.
Neck and neck.
Oh, yeah. And, I think I got 3rd, y'all. Come on, I was on there. I was on top
Dani
5.
was very good.
Yeah.
As I got she got upstairs, I was like, hey, and she was like, oh my God.
Literally dry heaving. Bruh.
Well, she knew.
Well, I knew because
she knew.
Because Megan, like I said, was a psycho. Literally running. Cardio psycho, for sure. 5 miles a day. And I'm like, I'd rather deadlift X amount, you know what I mean, before doing that. But so I did want to ask you, because so we did that, and then it was 2019 when I started training in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so at that time, I want to say, I don't know, was it just you and Kelly? And no, Kelly didn't even start till 2020.
Well, we started with Kelly online over COVID because, a lot of our girlfriends, the ones in our group, they have their own home gym. They're not even at Lifetime anymore. So
I love that.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing, and that's great. And so me and Kelly would get online with you, and believe me, I thought it would be easier, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I still made it hard.
Yeah.
I still made it a good workout.
Yep.
And that was super cool. So we did, so I trained you guys. I think it was a few times a week or something when we were doing COVID stuff. And then it was every Friday or whatever. But and that was awesome.
Yeah. Cause there was not, the gym was open, but there were a lot of restrictions and Matt didn't work for 2 years.
Right.
So
yeah.
Lifetime's not cheap.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask real quick. Prairie Life isn't that in Vermont?
No. So Prairie Life was the gym. It was corporate gym in Franklin, and this was like So this was like the it spot for basically like anybody that needed to work out. In Franklin. But what happened is so I knew the CEO, and that's how I got my like interview. Like I had the interview with him, and got my job there when I left Vermont. Because Claire, who's been on this podcast, she had a very wide range of connections, and she was like, "I'm not going to send you back to Tennessee without
California?
a job." Claire is the one who is originally from Louisiana, but she's the one that her husband had ALS and passed away. But she was the one that was living in Connecticut at the time, so she found the resort in Vermont. So we bonded because we're like Southern girls, whatever. Yes. Anyway, so she was like, "You have a passion." This is like, again, I'm 22 or 23 at the time, whatever. And she's like, "You have this passion. You're really good at what you do. Let's see who we can talk to and whatever." So I went to an interview in New Jersey. You want to talk about Lifetime being big? This North Atlantic club that I went to was like 4 Lifetimes. They had 4 tennis courts. Okay. I go in this place and I'm like, what is this? Anyway, and I meet with the man. He's like, "So where are you from?" And he's like, "Look, we love Claire. I love your passion. I love what you're doing." He gave me some solid advice, and he said, "I have a friend who owns gyms, and one of them is in Franklin. Is that near you?" And I said, "Yes, sir." That's like, because I was willing to work in New Jersey. I'm like, whatever I got to do. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, like, let's get you closer to home, whatever. I was like, perfect. So that's when I literally the next week, like I remember I had an interview. I got pulled over in the Taco Bell parking lot because I was on the way back from driving from Vermont to Tennessee. And the CEO, Jeff,
yes,
me and him had an interview. And anyway, so then when I went to Prairie Life and like had that first meeting, that's when like nothing went great because they're like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Oh, I thought I had a job." So you see what I mean?
So you were kind of the fill-in for a while.
Well, literally, Lori got me before I left. I was like, "Well, could you do membership?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I suck at math, but sure, let's do that." But I just was like, I need to have something.
Yeah.
So then Elizabeth was in there and kind of was like, "We don't have any spots open for whatever." But then when she realized, oh, she's on deck. Moms get sick, kids get sick. That's when the group fit. So that's why I would do water aerobics and all the things.
I remember you did all kinds of stuff. I'd see you in there dancing with the water aerobics people. And you bounced around and
work in every department pretty much except for the cafe and childcare because no,
that wouldn't be her thing.
Your boys were enough for me.
That was it, and my dog. Remember Buck?
Oh, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear about Buck. No, I used to feed him bacon strips. I was like the worst, y'all.
Yeah. Buck, she's not a dog person, as we know, Miss Pug over here.
Yeah.
She absolutely, she loved Buck because Buck was like a giant, just, I don't know, like meatloaf. Like he didn't jump on her. He didn't, he would just want food. Yeah. That's all he, love and food.
I was like, I'll give you some love.
She even stayed at my house and watched it when I was out of town.
I did, which I don't think I've done that for anybody else since. Like yours was the only like one. And I was so nervous. I was like, lock the door, make sure everything's good. Like
you did great.
You
did great.
It was so
as long as my house wasn't burnt down and Buck was alive, I was happy. And the cat, of course.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember the time when Jocelyn and you were sitting there drinking coffee and I did 500 burpees?
Yes, I do.
500 burpees.
Jocelyn remembers it too. We talk about it all the time.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I look back at these videos. I have all this, by the way,
yes,
still on my
I know.
phone. And I look back at these and I'm like, what was life? You know what I mean? Like,
she was on a roll. We I had already worked out with you.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there with Jocelyn. She's visiting. We're having this when she was back in Vegas, and we were having her coffee, and she's up just burping away.
Yeah.
We were just chatting with her. She burping. I mean, I don't think you would do that anymore.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
She would get something in her head. She was going to do it, and you could either just watch her do it or you could participate. Well, we weren't participating in that.
Oh yeah, they were just like, yeah, you're doing great, like, and then like having their own conversation.
You were down there for a long time.
I did 500 right there, and it was, and also,
in my living room.
Right. And then, because then I told you guys, it was kind of like a bet. It was like, if I could not drink for a certain amount of time, then I wouldn't have to do like 1,000 burpees or whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to drink. I went out with Alexis and them and had a couple shots or whatever. And I was just the worst night and had some cider. Anyway, I ended up.
Oh, yeah, you used to like the cider.
Yeah. I got like 2 hours of sleep. I left her house. I drove. I got sick at the Kroger, but I picked up a Gold Bar. And I literally get to my house in my dance room. I turn the speaker, like, because I was living with my parents at the time, speaker way up. And like, Mom already, like, I think she was like, I know this is probably what's going down. She's got to do some stuff or whatever. So I literally turn the speaker up. and I just start doing burpees. I was still pretty much drunk. Okay.
This was after you did the 500 at my house.
Yeah. This was like a couple weeks later or whatever.
Oh, I thought it was the same day. I was like,
oh, no. So then like literally, because I made a goal with my clients, because I was like, y'all aren't drinking, I'm not drinking, whatever. And I just let it slip with that one. And so I did the 1,000 or whatever, and that was ridiculous. But yeah,
I had almonds on the way up here, by the way.
Oh, did you have almonds?
I really did. Yeah, I had almonds and grapes. I thought of you the whole time. I purposely picked that stack.
I'm so glad that the things that I said all those years ago.
We would text, I'm having wine. Have some almonds with it. Okay. Or she would tell me to not have wine, have almonds instead.
I'm not sure if you know what I'm going for here.
I'm like, but speaking of that, so I thought I'd share my little story.
Please.
So when Matt stopped working, the consumption of red wine was a lot. And, you know, the stress and the repercussions of not having any kind of income for, you know, just 2 years, it spills over in the years to come. And, you know, so the last like 4 or 5 years has been very, very stressful for me. And I don't use that word lightly.
Right.
Also, you know, a lot of the grief I, you know, deal with other people and their things. And it just was a lot. And that's kind of why I started my travel business, because some of the grief was getting really heavy.
Okay. You're talking about with the Reiki and everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's like being a counselor. You know, people talk to you, tell you all their things, and you know, it's and you try to spiritually guide them. And so anyway, I was drinking too much and recently have stopped during the week.
Okay.
And it's a game changer.
It is 100%.
During the week. I mean, like, even if, you can't drink as much because you're not drinking as much. So you end up not drinking as much. And so, but I've also found this, it's called Apothecary with a K.
Yeah.
It's called Wind Down. And I just went to dinner with some girls the other night. I was telling them about it, and I put it in, you remember Bev?
Yeah.
I put it in her drink. She was like, cause she's on doing dry January. And I was like, try this. It's really good. And she's like, oh, I'm really relaxed. I mean, it really works. And so if anyone out there is having any kind of like anxiety at night, or, you know, here's the thing. You have anxiety at night, you drink. But in the morning, you have more anxiety because you drank.
Right.
Whereas if you have something to it's just all natural herbs, and it's not, you know, it's not a gummy or anything. It's just herbs and L-theanine, and you take it and you feel relaxed.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the anxiety in the morning.
Yeah. Or the guilt of like that you drank and then you feel gross and you go work out and you sweat it out.
I was getting so puffy.
Yeah.
And just from red wine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't worth it. And so, you know, it just kind of was an aha. I was like, I got to stop, because I put on like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember I used to look a gazelle, right? And so it's been, and I've like, but in the process, I've also given my body grace.
For sure.
Because not saying I did it intentionally to my body, but it was my choices. It's not my body to blame.
Right.
It was what I was doing, and that's what caused it. And so, you know, now I'm on a different path as far as health goes. And yes, I don't run anymore as much. I still jog. I still, do things like Angie Kirk told me to get a weighted vest.
Yep.
And she's like, you need to get a weighted vest. And so I got a weighted vest. I'm trying to do more walking.
I love that. Yeah.
Walking uphill. I do like what I call the walk jog.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'll ever go back to fully running all the time like I did.
Was it something did you hurt your knee, or what happened?
I had a hip injury, and I was going to Carly.
Yes.
And
because I remember we had
Mary
to
Claire
modify
Aaron
for a minute.
Yeah. I had to go to Mary Claire Aaron and Carly for, PT and chiropractic and everything.
Okay.
And it really kind of, I couldn't run.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do anything. I had to stop doing everything for like a good month.
Yeah.
And it healed. But I wasn't stopping, and I wasn't stopping, and I wasn't stopping. And I even tried swimming.
Oh.
Which was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah. It's not for
Things
me.
popped out of my bathing suit at Lifetime in front of all the older people.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Things were bobbing on the water. I said, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And the swim instructor at Lifetime was like, she was trying to help me, like showing me the ways to swim. I just was not. I mean, plus I was like, I smell like chlorine. It was gross. Anyway, But people swear by swimming. I mean, it's great for the joints.
It's great for them. I
personally am not a swimmer. I would rather do the stair climber.
For sure.
If I can't run. Yeah. The stair climber is just, it's killer. And you can use the weighted vest on the stair climber too.
100%. Yeah. I mean, like that was that's why the LYB came about, because when I was living in Connect, that was in Midtown. Yeah. And so, I was an influencer there for a bit. And so, there was I literally had to go down 3 floors, and that's where the gym was. So for me, it was not easy, but I was still in a prep, right? But to roll out of bed, get on the stairs, and then come back up and eat, then go back down and work out, that was my routine, right? So that was well, how am I going to get ready for this next show or whatever being here? So when we did that, we cleaned it all out, and I had no vision or no idea what I wanted to put in there. All I knew was, hey everyone, thank you so much for subscribing to the LYB podcast. If you haven't yet, please make sure to check out every channel for Dani Fitness, one on socials. If you can, leave a comment if you like this podcast. Share it with a friend if you know of anyone going through similar struggles or whatever it might be. And if you're interested in online programming, training with me at the LYB, or even my Fight Energy, please make sure to DM me, or you can email me at Dani@DaniFitness.com.
My company is LMV Travel Consultants. It's www.lmvtravels.com. Email is info @lmvtravels.com. And we are also on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at lmvtravels.com.
I gotta have a Stairmaster because for me, running with my back and everything, because after that injury, they were just absolutely no running. And I've ran since. I did a 5K for a charity which is a few months ago, and that was great, and I felt fine.
And you can do your own pace.
And exactly.
It's not about winning the race.
For sure, but that was the first time I had ran something God was kind of had on my heart. It was run for this cause, whatever. And I was okay, let's do it. And it was totally fine. So I felt really positive about that. But I've also been working very hard with that whole injury and to be so mindful after everything that happened. But when I was doing bodybuilding, they're do your Stairmaster every day, whatever. So that was a lot. So I did I think it was 20,000 floors, maybe more than that, but for that prep.
Wow.
And I mean, I made a whole video, but crazy, but I was in there, whatever. Anyway, so I did all that. But then when we got the Stairmaster, before we got that in, Crane Fitness sponsored it. And so they put in the squat rack, all that for free for me. And then partnered with Core and Health Fitness, and they got me the bench and the Stairmaster, so that way if I did a speaking engagement, we could do trade and whatever, which was a blessing. Yeah. So I just would go in there and work out for myself. Well, I was training out at Next Level, which is down the road. That's where I would do the virtuals for you guys from and whatever too. And my clients were hey, it seems kind of a vibe. What is it? And I was oh, y'all want to come? Do you want to come see? Because they're well, it's only 10 minutes away from where we're at now. I was because I had clients drive from Manchester, from Franklin, so we don't care. 10 more minutes, whatever. Yeah. And so they came in there and they just loved it. They loved being alone. They loved being exclusive. Yeah. They loved the fact that with the Airbnb, when it was free, you can just do a shower in there, all this stuff.
Do you remember we would at any other gym, you'd have men grunting and slamming things.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, And, so it's nice to have that space with just you.
For sure. Well, and it's a good, it's a good starter, but it's also, it's good for, I've had all different bodies in there. You know what I'm saying? Right. And people, but it's definitely been kind of a saving grace because with what you talk about with drinking. So I stopped drinking for the bodybuilding stuff. So I stopped drinking all that time. Then I drank a couple times and then haven't drank in 14 months.
You will be drinking in France.
And so I haven't drank. So by the time I get to France, I think it'll be my 2-year anniversary of not drinking or something like that. So it'll be really special. But I didn't have a problem with it. But what you're saying about it being a de-stressor and it being an escape. Yep. And the thing is it's just toxic in your body. It's going to withhold weight loss from happening. It's going to inhibit that from happening. Just everything that it does. I just felt there was no significance. So for me, it wasn't even a celebration anymore. It was more of I don't even want to even put my body through that. Yeah. So, because I don't know how much because like I said, we haven't seen each other in person, I guess, since before 2022, right? So it would have been 2020?
I think we might have seen each other. You came over for Reiki one time.
Okay, yes. But that would have been the end of maybe 2020.
Yeah.
Right? Or 2021?
2021, 2022. Yeah. It's been at least a year.
Mm-hmm. And Yeah, and then seeing you virtually, and then we stopped training and everything like that. But it was one of those things where after I did the bodybuilding, like I pushed it way too hard, but I had a coach that was really negligent. So kind of had that in common from when you know me from back then too, and basically ended up with autoimmune disorder, and so now I have like a cornea scarring on the side.
Yes, that's what you said.
Yeah. So if Matt if he wants to get me tickets to any more shows, they're gonna have to be like pretty close to the front. So
got it.
Yeah. So just in case he's
yes,
he's like, Dani, you want to come see this? We gotta have literally I'm gonna go see Chicago at TPAC, and like the person that got him for me got me like front row because I went to go see something at TPAC and I was in the last row. And I couldn't see anything. And I'm like, this is great. I'm glad someone paid for this for me. But like,
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. So, but it definitely gave me a lens to look through of not just, I reflect on it fondly of when I was training you guys because look, I really had no problems. I mean, I had problems because like men and stuff's always an issue. But I was living with my parents or whatever, but like life was pretty good. I was just grinding, working. So like when we could go run and laugh and just like go freeze our tail off or whatever. And then, it just, that time was really special, and I think about that. And, but now it's given me a whole nother lens to look at clients and be like, I mean, a lot of my girls I train have autoimmune issues. Like they are dealing with PCOS, are dealing with endometriosis, all this stuff, but like things that I can now more understand, right? And just the whole thing of even with my hormones being off because of the stuff. I never had thyroid issues before bodybuilding, or any of that. And just how much harder it is.
Well, and you can also share your experience with people and to have balance.
Yes, exactly.
Because, it's one thing to do maybe one. But because I know someone who's about to do one, and I gave her warning, fair warning. I said, it's hard on your body to go up and down like that. Yeah. And I was like, you don't know. Even pregnancy can open up stuff like that. So you have to think what you're doing is like that. It's a major body change, and it affects your hormones. It affects,
and if you don't have the proper guidance and whatever. And that was the thing too.
You have to have, if you're going to do anything like that, you need to have someone who really knows what they're doing.
Right. And so it just was one of those things where it's kind of just a culmination where I had to like this past year, it was like June, and I got my blood work done and they said all these things were off. And they're like, this is like dangerous. Like you need to like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think this is a false read, but I also prayed about it on the Stairmaster in there and cried and was just like, this is your sign. Like my sign should have been a year prior when I was feeling miserable and I was like, something's wrong, but I pushed it. And it was like a week after I turned 30, the eye thing happened, flare up, whatever. And I kept going.
Yes.
And so I was like, I'll get a new coach, it'll be better and whatever. Still was the same thing. And so basically when I ended up, it was like June when that happened, I was like, I'm about to turn 31. I was like, this is just not it. Like, I want to sit here at my birthday and eat this food and not want to like jump off a cliff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I watched girls who came to my birthday that were in preps and stuff and whatever, and the way that they were manic, just like whatever. And again, great girls, but
it can be obsessive.
Yeah. And I'm so, like you said before, that whole circle it back in the beginning when you said, like, if there's something I'm going to do.
She going to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing I would say. Nope. She was going to do it.
Yeah.
I know how you are. So that's why I think it's good that you saw for yourself. And most people kind of have to see for themselves.
Yeah.
In order to know, okay, this is definitely not.
Yeah. And it was wild. And so, but again, it led me to be able to go speak to girls who've got, at bodybuilding workshops and talk to them about loving themselves. So it got me a different market as well. But like to, because those girls, I'm like, if I love myself and I'm pretty, I'm very confident, whatever, and I'm having these issues.
Yeah.
Then like mentally with it, then like y'all are and that's what it was. And like, cause it was like never enough. You know what I mean?
I think that goes for bodybuilding with men too.
Oh, for sure.
100%. Because it's all about that. It's all about that. It's all about that. Because it has to be, because to get to those sizes and that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an extreme.
Yes.
It's like, so yeah, I think that's good that you are able to share your experience with people because, I mean, that's why I always tell people my experiences, because if you don't share them.
Right.
People, it's like Facebook and social media. all these like happy little things going on. No one talks about the hard stuff, like the infertility. Some people do. Yeah, I've seen it on there where people are,
getting better about it.
For infertility sucks. Those kinds of things, and they talk about it because otherwise people feel like they're an island, and it's like you're not at all. Right. There's always someone hurting.
Exactly. And when I came out about my eye, these girls messaged me random. I never met them before. They're like, hey, I had the same coach you did. I was on bed rest. I now can't have kids. I like all these serious things. And I was like, wow, I wish that someone would have told me beforehand, or or they would have talked about it, but they were it was made to, they were made to feel like manipulated, that it was only them. Well, this sounds like a you problem. Or like, and I even had asked the coach and been like, have you ever seen this before? Can someone explain to me what's happening? Like, does this go away? Is this like, when will I see again? Yeah. And for them to be like, he was like, oh, I just have never seen this again. There was a girl who literally messaged me with the same exact thing. And I'm like,
oh my God.
You see what I'm saying? Like own it. Like, and again, whatever.
Well, when you're doing things, okay, so there's this whole carb thing. Okay. Carbs aren't your enemy.
Correct.
It's like the baked potato itself has lots of wonderful things to it.
Yeah.
When you don't put, cheese and butter and sour cream and bacon on it.
Yeah.
Now, if you want that as a treat, okay.
Right.
But our bodies are meant to eat what God provided for us.
Correct.
And if we're only eating certain things, especially as females.
Yeah.
See, I know men probably have some of the similar issues, but women, our bodies are not built like men's.
No.
They're not meant to be built like men's.
And you can't compare and you can't, but literally, but that's what people,
men can eat anything.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, is that like people, and this is what's so crazy. It's like, they don't realize that one hormone could be off. And it literally inhibits you from being able to lose weight. So it's not about just working harder. And I really want people to hear that, because I hope that a lot of your people, listen to this podcast.
Oh,
and
I'll be sending it to everyone.
Yeah. And but like that they understand that it's not about eating less and working out more. I had a girl message me from Franklin the other day. She sent me this whole long message about, Dani, I'm eating 1,300 calories a day. I'm working out 5 times, did it a day, all this stuff. And I was like,
get her panels, check her. Yeah.
But literally I was like, you're so severely under eating and you're so severely over, exercising. What were you saying?
I was just going to ask you about that, because I hear that a lot from personal trainers, that their issue with women is not overeating, it's undereating.
Correct.
Yes.
And but here's the thing too, there's a fine line, okay? Because undereating, if for someone to genuinely say that that's all they get in a day, they're just, again, they're prioritizing, maybe a shake or like a snack or that's, whatever. But most of the cases, it is, people don't track it. So they don't understand. They think they're only having that many, but then really they are having more than what they are supposed to have. Or it's the wine that they're not tracking, and they're like, oh, but I just have 2 glasses of wine every night. Like, you see what I mean? So there's a disconnect.
I know people don't count their wine. They're like, oh, I don't count that. Well,
Yeah.
you gotta count that too.
But that's a carb
it's
too.
Empty calories. It's just sugar.
Right. And so that's where, again, it's that whole mindset that lie that everyone was fed of whatever. And I mean, I should have been a prime example too, I feel like, even at 23 or 24, because I was teaching. Sometimes I did Move Fit 3 times in a day. Don't know how, but would do that. Would go to Nissan and then Healthways and then and then teach it at Prairie Life. And that was after doing a 5:40 a.m. workout class, like strength training, and a run. I mean, so you're talking, guys, thousands of calories. And look, right? But you're talking about thousands of calories that I'm burning, okay? And my body fat was still higher than what I ever wanted it to be. But I mean, I looked smaller, but I wasn't like, it just wasn't strong. Like, I look back, you see what I mean? I didn't have the muscle that I have now, anything like that. So when I look back at those videos, I'm like, yeah, you still like, you got to this weight and it was just too much of the body fat. But again, it wasn't because I was literally eating 1,400 calories because that was advised to me by a coach. So I'm literally burning probably 3,000 on my own, plus my metabolic rate, and you know what I mean? Active, and I'm literally eating that much a day. Yeah. And that was calculated. That was weighed, that was tabled, that was everything. And so that's where I should have known back then and kind of learned that at that moment. But it wasn't until when I got into strongman that I was like, I need fuel. Because I think I told you, I had like gone to lift up a log and like blacked out. Yes. And the guys were like, what did you eat this morning? I'm like, well, nothing. And they're like, bro, we already smashed like carbs, pancake. We've already had everything. And then I'm over here like, oh, I guess I should like eat this bar.
Right.
You know?
Well, another thing too is, this is what I always stress to both clients and friends and sustainability.
Yes. 100%.
You can't sustain that.
No.
So you will put it back on.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing to lose weight, if it's not something that you're willing to do for the rest of your life, then it's not going to,
And that's exactly what I help with all of my clients.
Yeah,
like realistic, healthy regimens.
Yeah. I mean, you could eat entire bags of spinach a day and you're not going to put on weight. You're going to lose it, especially if you're exercising.
Right.
But you also need to eat, protein
but then when you lose that weight is still muscle. You see what I'm saying?
You have to lose
so
the fat.
when everyone talks about losing weight, you don't want to actually lose weight. What you want to lose is body fat because you don't like the aesthetic or the look, whatever. And how do we lose body fat, Megan? I'm sorry.
how do we do it? Weightlifting.
I'm sorry.
Weightlifting.
Only took her 7, 9 years, 10 years for this.
I do enjoy it now.
Yes.
I do enjoy it. I still do cardio. I still like cardio,
yes, of course.
But I even got a walking pad for when I do sit and do all my travel stuff.
Love it.
Can't really do it when I'm doing Reiki. It'd be weird.
Yeah, for sure.
on my walking pad, but yeah, I try just to get more movement in.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I'm here to tell you. You still, yes, you don't want to be doing something like 1,300 calories. That would be extreme for me.
Yeah.
Especially if you're exercising and chasing after children and whatever you're doing in your day.
Yeah.
But I will say that with me, I find that really paying attention to actually eating and what I'm eating, like actually enjoy the food.
Yeah.
Don't eat just because, I have to have this. I have to eat this.
Correct.
Or I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't. It's like it's food. Have a relationship with it.
Yes.
Be a foodie, people. It's great.
So that's another thing too but again, there's been so much fear instilled in that. So just like there was fear with strength training for women, all the things we've had to cycle through. But so with all of the health stuff, it led me to working with, she's a nutritional therapist, but she also is a hormone specialist. So she's the one that orders my labs. We do all the deal, whatever.
Good.
But we naturally got my thyroid back up. And they told me that wasn't able, like doctors were like, nope, you have to have medicine.
You can. Yeah.
You can. So we did that. That's great. So things are like, on the up and I got my cycle back and that's been awesome after 3 years. So at the end of the day, it's like, but what I focus on now is the nutrients that I'm having and also not just inhaling my food and not also only focused on, because there was times where I would eat a meal in 30 seconds flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Running around, training clients, whatever. Like
you heating your meals up at my house.
Yeah. Yes. Remember? Like,
yes.
And again, but it was like, no one ever talked about that mind body connection. Like if you're negatively having, it's like, it's not even processing the way it should. And then that leads to digestive issues.
Yep.
So
gut
again,
health,
the gut health is so important. So there's so many things that it really just comes down to when you have your meals, it being nutrient dense, having actually like good products, right? And taking the time to look at it and be like, okay, what do I feel like is great? Like I love avocado. You know what I mean?
I eat it every day.
Right? I do too. So, but again, how do I have it? Like, do I have 5 of them a day? Like, no. Like, know, so it's again, figuring out what works for you and having that freedom. And that's what I've been working on over the past, like 7 months. It's like, really trying to enjoy things and like look forward to it.
Yeah.
Not
Plus,
fear it because or whatever.
Well, and that's the thing. So some of the stuff I've learned just booking travel, because I do a lot of research when I book, is pay attention to how other countries eat.
Yeah. I can't wait.
I mean, it's very different. And they, like you look at the blue zones, they're not doing any of the things we're doing, and they're healthy, they're strong. I mean, they're gardening, that's their weightlifting.
Yeah.
It's like my mother always says, you don't need to go to the gym. I'll get some mulch. You can mulch my beds with,
Well, they're walking everywhere too.
They walk everywhere. Yeah. That's their their steps they don't care. They don't even know how many steps.
Right. Because they don't have to. Like, and that's the thing that like genuinely that what I loved about moving here was there's a gym down the road. So I'll walk to that gym. So it's like 45 minutes, whatever. But like I'll walk to it, work out, and then walk back.
Yep.
And like that's been great. But when it's been cold, doing the walking pad, whatever. But I didn't realize how the days that I trained clients, yes, I had thousands of steps and whatever, right? And then the days I wasn't, barely any steps. So it was one of those things where I'm like, this is too much of an inconsistency already with autoimmune issues. Like, I got to show my body more consistency, even just that,
right?
You know, and so that is a huge thing too. So right now we're doing 12,000 steps a day for 12 weeks. So it's like that's a cool, merit. I love the goals and whatever. But I'm very excited and. France is going to be super cool. And so we'll have to talk more about it, as well, off this. But that's been a dream of mine. For those who don't know, my grandmother's from France. And so it's probably going to end up being me and Mom going.
Okay.
And so, it's one of those things where it'll be just really special to go kind of back to sea,
Oh, yeah.
And I've only I went to Ireland when I was younger, but it was jet lagged, you didn't see a lot,
Plus,
and so
the older, I think, like, as you mature, you tend to have a more of appreciation, especially if you're spending your own money to do something that is just something you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it. And you're gonna find, like, even their health is better than ours. And it's part of it is what they put in our food.
For sure.
I mean, I knew someone, I didn't know her personally, but I read about a woman who came from Japan and ate the exact same foods and put on 20 pounds of fat, not muscle.
Right.
Fat.
I've heard of people that go to Europe and you're not even talking about like the blue zones. I'm not even talking about like the Mediterranean area. Like they just go to London.
Yeah.
And they don't even change the way they eat. Like if they ate McDonald's here, they'll eat McDonald's there. Like they don't even change anything and they lose weight.
No, my client literally came back from somewhere, I forget where she went, but she came back and was down 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Doing nothing.
From the same stuff. And
you're
like
walking
just
a
moving
lot. You're eating,
but stress.
the food is.
So the food in your body isn't stressing you out.
Lower,
You're not stressed out. It's just a different. So I completely get it. And yeah. So, but I love like you've been so helpful in helping me with that because that was the biggest hurdle. Was like who's going to plan it, and like I just was overwhelmed with that. And
I am the Europe expert of the company.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's going to be just incredible. So I can't wait. But yeah, so tell me, how has it been kind of reflecting back and like your boys are, how old now?
13, almost 14, and 10 will be 11 in May.
So how has it been like with all of it, right? Because like looking back, because it's been so beautiful to like be like to look back at our time in Franklin and stuff. But looking like that person you were then, running every day, new mom, stuff like that. Like after going through kind of this like grief and like loss of like all the kind of your way of life, I would say.
Yeah.
How have you been able to like reflect on that? Like how are you feeling now?
I would say that it has been. It's more nostalgic to me at this point. And they always say it goes by fast. It goes by fast when you're having kids and anyone whose mom understands that. But, I look back at that as such a different time in Franklin than now.
Right. And tell me, how is it now?
I still, and it's so funny because I made such valuable friendships.
Yeah.
That I know I can always rely on like so many of those people that I, even if I don't talk to them every day, even if some of them don't work out at Lifetime, even if I don't, see them for several months, I know that they would be there for me.
Yeah.
And I guess that's something I look back at, with my kids. I remember when you did the thing at the Classical Academy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little workout, right?
Yes. Like I think back at those times and it's just, I don't know, to say it's just nostalgia.
Yeah.
And, Prairie Life, we were just talking because I was out with several Prairie Life people.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how we miss Prairie Life. And it was.
Because it was different from Lifetime.
Very different.
And I think I didn't mention that when I was talking about earlier that I knew that the CEO had like told, like, I found out through the grapevine that Lifetime was coming before anybody knew.
Yeah.
And I know that like a lot of those people were like, oh, are you going to leave to Lifetime or whatever? I was like, nope. That's not what I'm doing.
No,
and then I
want to do your own thing.
And I literally got a website together. I knew so I always try to be like ahead of stuff to honestly self-preserve because I think what happened, like the doors were just shut one day. Right? Like a Prairie Life. Like it was just like
it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I get it. That's just what happens sometimes. But we were like it was just kind of in a text thread. We were like, oh, just remember those, we miss those Prairie Life days. And it was like, I mean, all faces you would know.
Yeah.
Cheryl was an instructor there and she was with us and Ann Peck and Ashley and Dina.
Yeah. Dina. Oh, yeah.
And Dina was an instructor there. And so, and then Bev, and it was just kind of like, oh, we missed that, we missed like the bonds that were made.
How was it at Lifetime? Because y'all were there for a couple of years.
Yeah. Most, and a lot of them are there, but some aren't, like some of the girls that we worked out with aren't there anymore. And, but it's still great. I mean, it's a good place. It's got everything.
Right.
But, and the yoga's exceptional. It's good. I don't know. It's just not the same feel.
Yeah.
As it was there. I think it's because it's so big.
Right.
But I mean, I've met new people there. Yeah. So that's been good. But it's been, I don't know. It's just, we miss that old camaraderie.
I know. It was really special. And that's another thing too, like what you just said about like you could call back on them at any time. So I literally feel like that's how we are. But then also, I mean, it was like when my book came out, I went and dropped a copy. I think I had dropped one to you. I don't know if I did.
I got one.
Okay.
I ordered it.
Okay. Oh, you ordered it. That's right. Yeah.
Of course.
And I appreciate that. And so, but it was like Jen Hall, like I was like in Franklin. I was like, hey, can I stop by and like, whatever. And she had 2 boys. And so they're the best. But I used to train her and her husband sometimes. But anyway, I was like, can I just stop by? I have this new book and whatever. Yeah. And she's like, of course. Literally was wearing one of my Dani long sleeve shirts. And her husband was like, I saw him, Tommy. He was like, he said, he goes, look, she did not just put that on. She wears that all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like, he bought some Fight from me. And like, they got the book. Like, it was just so special. And like, I could just reflect on that, and like, wow, because I hadn't seen them in years.
Yeah.
And then for them to just be like, and then even Jacqueline, I went and took her,
I love her.
And but like, she even checks in on me. Like she, it was, I said something about the book and she was like, how did you, she was like, I'm not surprised, but like, what,
Yes.
And that was so cool. So I really do still feel that support, and it always makes me just smile because it was such a special time and all of you have been amazing,
And it's like, after, it's kind of like the pre-COVID. And then this post-COVID, it's gotten a lot busier and bigger.
Yeah.
People moving it back or moving to Franklin. And, it's been a little crowded.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, but then I've met some new people.
Yeah.
That wanted to get away from more stressful environments during that time and wanted a little more, just being able to go outside and stuff. Because I know a lot of places shut all their outdoor exercise stuff out, which we didn't do because you need sun,
Yeah.
You don't have to come up and kiss me. Just let me run around outside, please.
Yeah. I remember you were like, I'm running.
I ran. I remember I'd run and there were people, I'd be running. We're outside like in sun.
Yeah.
And they would put their mask over their face when I would run by. And I was like, I don't think it could go that far. But hey, everyone's got their level of insecurity with that.
100%.
I just want to throw in real quick. I watched a woman one time at our apartment complex who was watching the pool. She's like a pool monitor or whatever. There was no one there, like just her.
Yeah.
And there was one couple that came in and then they left. And they were like leaving as I'm walking by. And I watched this woman after they left. No one's in there, just her. I mean, she put on a damn hazmat suit almost.
Oh,
to go like clean this pool chair.
And that's what that did
no
to
one
people.
around
Yeah.
you.
Well,
There's no
it
one around
instilled
you.
more fear.
And stress and that made people heavier. And this loses jobs, and yes, people did get really sick but they weren't getting proper vitamins and nutrients. And it's just, it's the whole thing is very upsetting.
Well, how has like you and Matt's relationship been with all of this? Like with now you working and everything like that? Like,
so, well, he loves the fact that I'm doing the travel business because I actually love planning travel.
Yeah.
And I did it before a friend at the time got me into it. Mm-hmm. I was very much into, I liked to plan travel.
Yeah.
And that was, when she approached and said, you should do travel stuff because I planned. So I would do my mom's, I would do mine, I would do like anybody's who would ask me. And I still don't charge anything.
Right.
Because,
yes.
we get paid with the hotels and the tours and all that stuff.
Super cool. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little known thing that people don't even know we exist anymore.
Right.
I didn't know we existed.
Yeah.
So when I became a travel consultant, it was just like, I had found two both my businesses that I just really, really enjoy. And, to be able to do something that you enjoy,
oh yeah,
and get paid, and not have to put the burden of payment on someone else,
for sure,
because it's already expensive to travel. To pay someone to plan it. And I know that some places do charge consultant fees because our time is valuable. I mean, if we don't know you, you're reaching out to us. Like I know you, and I know you're going to book with me, but we'll do all the work and we'll plan it all, and then they'll go ahead and take it. And so we sometimes have to do that, but it's minimal. And usually if they're reaching out, they're wanting someone
doing it.
So and if they don't, then we know they're not serious.
Exactly.
And so, but it's been a lot of fun, doing something you like. I mean, like Lindsay and I will talk about, like, kind of nerd out. We've gotten some new people who came over to us. They wanted to join our team because they liked our model, the way we did things. So Lindsay and I own it, but we have like 4 women that individually have come and talk to Lindsay or I. And
hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the LYB podcast. If you haven't yet, please go check out the How to Love Your Body Throughout book on Amazon. This is my very first book. I am so proud of it. It is a short read. You can also get it on Kindle. So it's not a huge commitment, but it is something of a self-help book. So if you're someone who's looking for support, you're looking for tools, you're looking for just a way to feel better during this holiday season and into the new year, I definitely recommend it. I put my heart and soul into this, and this is just the start. So if you haven't yet, go on Amazon and get your first copy.
Shout out to them. But Kristen Mingy, she lives in Leapers Fork.
Okay, cool.
And she's kind of our ski / national parks expert.
Love it. Yeah.
And that's who I always go to if someone asks me about skiing or Yellowstone. Or any of that kind of stuff. And then we have Valerie, and she lives in Tampa, and she's she's very good with like real high, like high needs clients and stuff. Like she's very attentive to them. Okay. And then of course there's Lindsay and I, Europe, Hawaii. And we are the owners. And then we've got Elisa Hoover, who she lives in Alabama. She used to live in Leapers Fork, but she is our Peru, safari, and pretty much South America expert. Yeah, she's done all that.
So you're just like building a whole team of women.
We are, and our setup is we're all on the same team, so there's no competition.
Nice.
So we are all like we're technically the owners, but we all put a percentage into our business
cool.
that we give back to ourselves with fam trips and things. So we're trying to plan a fam trip for all of us, which is where we all go and we, do tours of different hotels to see them firsthand. And so we all do it, like even the owners, like we all put it in there, and it goes to all the expenses, advertising, all the marketing materials that we have.
So really the team,
It is a team. I mean, like technically Lindsay and I pay the majority of the cost of doing business, but we wanted to include them in on everything. So it's kind of, so we're a team. I mean, we still have our own clients. Like, so if somebody called me for skiing, Kristen would just help me do it. Correct. She would tell me where to go, what to do. Also Jocelyn, because she doesn't work for me, but she skied for a long time.
Okay, cool.
But so that's kind of how it works. Eventually, as we grow, we're gonna do more of like if people call in for a specific destination, we would give them that. And then there's Lindsay Ventura, our Caribbean expert.
I love it. This is awesome. So tell me too, because I love to hear these stories, and because of with your relationship with Matt and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people's relationships didn't make it through COVID and didn't, you know what I mean? Like with the divorce rate and everything like that.
It was hard. And so he's been very supportive of this. So what happened with him was he worked for my stepdad for 2 years.
Right.
But it was only like a third of what he normally makes. Yeah. And I was doing my, my other business at the time. And so that really did help us get through it. But I also have 2 kids at Korean Grim Academy, which is
expensive.
It's expensive. And, even they were very generous. And I also, one was at TCA at the time, and they were also very generous. But having 2 kids in private school, and you can't just rip them out of that, especially Korean Graham. It's a special kind of school. So yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of your friends went through the same situation?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I also had 2 friends, and I'll never forget them walking up to me and telling me, it was actually Chris and Ann Peck.
Yeah.
I was at Sprouts, and it was right after my mat wasn't working, and I was just devastated. I didn't know what to do. And they came up to me and they were like, we've been there.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. Like they're okay now, you know? And it was like, the last crash, the housing market. And so that really, I'll never forget them coming up and just giving me that encouragement. And that's what I needed at the time. And Matt, I told Matt that too. I was like, we're not alone.
Right.
I remember the first time Matt went back out, and it was with, I can't remember, it's a rapper. But he took a picture of the stage and he was just like, I can't believe I'm back. It's like 2 years is a long time not to do your job.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't feel like a broken tool in the back of a drawer now. Like I feel like people want, and now he's been busy as all get out, and it's like, that's huge. And it takes a lot to dig out of that hole though.
Yeah. For sure, mentally and everything. And I think a lot of people, felt that. And and it's I do want to say this because I know we're kind of wrapping up and stuff because we have so much, but you have always been that person that like kept it real and it was so refreshing because, like I feel like there's a lot of appearances that need to be kept up in Franklin. And I think you can understand that too. And like how people were seen and all this stuff, whatever, and I'm over here walking around in booty shorts and doing my deal and, whatever. And like, you were just, always just that kind of real sounding board and person. And I don't want you to ever forget that like that was such a pivotal thing for everyone. Like you said, you were doing something and everyone would follow. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was really cool. And I definitely, it was nice to see a strong woman at that time, and so I love that even though it was hard for you and you going through all that and you had to go through that depression, that kind of state, just watching you get to the other side and persevering is amazing. So
thank you. Yes.
Of course.
I mean, it's been challenging at times, but like you said, I always try to, during that time, there's a lot of controversy and a lot of like people, and I try to keep everybody like, let's just don't be ugly at people.
Right.
I mean, ugliness is uncalled for. And I was like, you don't have to be ugly. Yeah. You can always, it's like when someone, even if you disagreed with them,
right? Do you feel like you've had that mindset though because you've always been spiritual, right? You've always had a relationship with God.
Yes.
So do you feel like that also played a big role?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because they're all God's children too. They're all His children too. It doesn't matter if somebody disagrees with you. Yeah. It doesn't make them a bad person. Yeah. And vice versa. I mean, that goes on all sides. And like, I remember there were some times where I had to diffuse political talk and stuff during that time because we were all friends. It's not worth a friendship. Right. Because you don't take it with you when you go.
Correct.
I can attest to that. You don't take it with you when you go. You take your memories, your relationships, and your soul. You don't take your body. You don't take, you don't take anything from this world. Right. And just your experiences and how you were, how you handled yourself. What did you say? Did you hurt somebody? And you got to feel all that when you go. So you want to make sure that you did things with a clear conscience. Like you're going to accidentally hurt people sometimes. Right. That's just,
we make mistakes. Like there's things.
Right. Yeah. And people are going to hurt you and they're not, they're hurting you because they're angry or
it's projection and like,
they're angry at you or they're whatever, or it's an accidental, but ultimately, you have to forgive them and they have to forgive you or it's just going to eat on you or them. Yeah. And so that's sort of where I've learned a lot of lessons just through clients and through my own personal experiences that, sending people love when they're super angry. Yeah. Or, just constantly just send them love and know they're a child of God too. And, they have their hurt or you have your hurt. And it's like, that's something I've learned.
Right. So if you could, cause I have guests on here that I've never met before or that I've met one time or that I've had for years or childhood, whatever. Right. Yeah. So for you knowing me for this long, like what would be something, cause now you've seen like the house, you've seen the LYB.
I love it.
You've watched the business, from outside, you've been in the community.
I've known you since you were just subbing at Prairie Life. Yeah. And now you've grown this business and just such a positive image. I was just telling Lindsay, all she ever does, and she has a presence, and I told her this, you have a presence that just inspires people. Like people would like, they just want to be around you. It's like, you know this. You just want to be around her, you know?
Aww.
But yeah, and I told her, I said, just watch when I send it to you. You'll know what I'm talking about, that it's like, you know, you never, ever give up. Like, if you want something now, and this can be to your detriment, but you've also learned lessons on how to use that for a good thing, not necessarily going down something that's not going to serve you.
Correct.
You're doing it to serve yourself and others, and that's huge. So yes, you have grown a lot, and just watching you, and I was concerned when you were doing all those things, because I know that it's hard on the body, being a perimenopausal woman, because I'm in my 40s, I knew that wasn't going to go well, because I was like, she's going to get to my age, and if she keeps doing them, her body's going to be just worn out. Body is very good at rejuvenating itself, though.
For sure. No, I believe that.
Yeah, so.
And the power and positivity and prayer, for sure, too.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
can't do it without God. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Not gonna happen.
And that's why I've gotten like at peace with it. You know what I mean? Because I was very angry about the eye thing. I was, wanting someone to blame. I was, all the things, right? And then also with this, what people don't understand too, is that like I've had to rebuild. So that meant that like had to put on weight, had to, because to get my cycle back, like had to be uncomfortable, clothes don't fit, all this, all this stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, but again, that was part of it to heal myself. So like now it's like, yes, I might be in like whatever size body or whatever, but for me, I'm like, man, I'm not having as many skin flare-ups, or I'm not having, I'm actually having a cycle. I'm, not in such a stress all the time and so stressed out, like it's just literally looking at things differently.
You're appreciating the body God gave you.
Yeah.
And taking care of it.
And the thing is that I always loved that body. It's just that there were things that didn't even realize were happening, because you get in such a cyclical.
Yes. Well, you're, like I said, you never give up. So it was like you were going.
Fight for what you want.
Yes, you were going to, which is a good thing. It's just,
I remember too when I just, this keeps popping up in my head, when all of y'all got on the sled and you made me push you guys
that video.
down the turf. There's like 5 women on the sled, and they're like, push us.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, and it makes sense that you would go and do something like that, the bodybuilding thing, because you've always been very strong. Muscles were never your problem. And so to do that, I get it, but I think I'm glad you stopped and just sort of are taking more of a balanced approach. And
yeah, exactly. Well, and I wanted to ask, because you've seen the business and everything like that. Is there anything that, because now that you're in business for yourself and everything like that, would you give like any advice like that? Would you have? Because like I said, you've seen me grow. You've seen me be from Prairie Life to Dani Fitness to everything. What would kind of your advice be?
Honestly, I think your recent baptism
and
giving yourself to God is probably the best thing you could have done for your business.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm just being truthful.
No, I
because
appreciate that.
you need that. You need him.
Yeah.
And you have to rely on God.
For sure.
For everything that you get, and trust that patience is key. Because you are a fighter. You are like, I gotta get this, I gotta get this,
Yeah.
So the only advice I would tell you is to keep relying on God and know you're not in control.
Right.
All you can do is what you can do, and just keep that serenity prayer in your heart, just over and over.
No, 100%. And that was the other thing too that I'll say is, and thank you for, acknowledging that. And God was always present. It's just that like, it was one of those where things got skewed. You know what I'm saying?
He was waiting for you to turn back to him and not to the voices.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's just an important lesson for everyone, that when they look at people, like they see you or they see me and they're like, man, they seem at peace. It's like, that doesn't mean that life is perfect. Doesn't mean things aren't hard. Doesn't mean we don't have our own struggles, health, internal, whatever.
Yeah.
It just means that we know, though, at the end of the day, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And having that peace is everything. And having that grace and like and for yourself, and like we said about, not being so hard on yourself, not talking so negatively to yourself and hating yourself throughout this process. I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's how we're going to, by setting that example, that's how it's going to create and perpetuate this for more women and men too, but to feel strong and feel capable and feel beautiful.
Yes.
As you age and as you are, doing all the things and being a mom and all of it.
And you're going to, as you grow in your business, I've told you this before, I see it, you're going to grow as you experience more life as a woman. Like, like I said, like, when if you decide to have children.
Yeah.
going through that is going to change your perspective on the body. Having the perimenopause, that's what I'm dealing with. Like all of all the 40-year-olds are dealing, 50s and 60s is menopause. Like there's stages that you go through that as a trainer and as a coach and, as a woman owning a business where people rely on you, you're going to discover like personally firsthand, how it really feels, like empathy versus sympathy.
100%.
And you're starting to get as you're going, you're almost the age where I met you. So
really
getting close. I was about 35, 36. So you're in your 30s. So you're getting into that part where, and your body changes every 5 years.
Yeah.
They say 7, but my grandmother always said 5. And I will always go with my grandmother. But yeah, your body changes. And so you're going to change and you're going to change your perspective, just like what just happened to you. It's going to be like, oh, this taught me a lesson. Oh, this hit me. But yeah.
Well, I ask everybody this question, and so you probably knew it was coming, but what is something that you love about your body?
Well, I've always loved that I was able to produce my 2 beautiful children.
Yes.
I'm sure most us mothers say that.
Yep. Every mom.
And But I also, I love, let me think. I would say I've always liked my legs. Are you're asking on a superficial level or
just in general? I mean, everybody's answer is different.
I would say I love that my body has given me the ability to exercise as long as I was able to, and I am. I'm glad. I'm thankful that my body is healthy.
Yeah.
Aside from a few skin things, and and I'm thankful. I guess my favorite parts of my body, I always liked my lips, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I always was told I had good lips.
Yeah.
And nice eyes. So good hair.
And you've always been very confident. Like you really have been. And I love that. And I hope that you continue to lean into that as you're going through the perimenopausal, as the aging stuff.
Get my body fat down. Yes.
But like to remember to love it throughout, right?
It's hard. And there are times where I'm like, I can't do that to it because this is me. It's like you make choices and this is what happens. It's not like I just woke up with like my leg fall off or something,
right. It sounds like, again, being realistic, right?
Yeah.
Being realistic about where you're at and acknowledging it and then choosing do you want to change it or not.
Yeah. It's like I have a choice.
Yeah.
It's not like it's being forced on me.
And what you said was the most beautiful part, I think, too, was that our bodies are resilient. And it can adapt and can overcome. And that's why I try to look at now of like whether or not certain things are permanent or whatever. I do think that you can heal and you can heal from within. There's things that you can do to help aid. So it's like, it might not be tomorrow, right? But again, if you work hard and you focus on your health and everything, that you can get, you can accomplish so many things.
And also always seek integrative care.
Yes.
That's the best advice I could 100%. Give. And give it to all your clients. Always seek holistic care first. If it's something with wellness, like especially if it's inflammation or any type of, because
really, guys, like the doctors, and as we're ending, I'll say on this note, but like have been a waste for me. Like I truly, it's And again, I think there's a place for both at certain times.
You get in a car accident, you go in the hospital.
Yeah. But if you're dealing with any of these things that we're talking about, reaching out to my hormone specialist, I'm sure people, like there are people out there now. It was very hard to find before, but there are people. It's growing. So don't lose hope. I've had to talk to like 10 different people just to be able to you know what I mean?
Just think, and people, if you're struggling with infertility, if you're struggling with any of that stuff, find integrative.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's diet.
Yeah.
Yep. Supplements, things like that. So.
I love this. This is awesome. I told you it'd be easy, right?
Yes. It was fun. Right when I sat down, I was like, I'm in my element. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're in a safe space. You're back with me. So, well, thank you, Megan. I appreciate you so much. And until next time.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course.